Saraji has been explaining about Arata Viriya, and by now yogis have understood Arata Viriya from both theoretical and practical aspects. And Arata Viriya is defined as two kinds of Viriya. The first one is Kayika Viriya, and the second one is Cetasika Viriya. When practicing diligently, exerting effort continuously in order to uplift Viriya, effort, there are two kinds. The Viriya that arises in the body, it is called Kayika Viriya. And the Viriya effort that arises in the mind is Cetasika Viriya. Among the two, the first one, Kayika Viriya, means the kind of effort needed in order to perform bodily actions, and also the kind of effort that is needed in order to perform postures such as going, walking, standing, sitting, and lying. It's called Kayika Viriya. It takes quite a lot of effort in order to walk and to stand. Among the four major postures, walking, standing, sitting, and lying, among these four, walking and standing needs a lot of effort. In order to make each step, one needs to exert ordinary effort, and also in lifting, moving, placing of the foot, one needs to exert effort to lift, to move, and to drop the foot. So every time one makes a step, every time one lifts, moves, and drops, one needs to exert effort. And also, when one is standing, one needs to exert effort in order to keep the body upright. One needs to exert effort. So such kind of effort to make bodily actions, to make postures, it is called Kayika Viriya. But it is Suttanta way, but in Abhidhamma there is no such thing as Kayika Viriya. So in Abhidhamma there is only Cetasika Viriya, and this Kayika Viriya is defined in Suttanta. When doing walking meditation or standing, one needs quite a lot of effort to balance and maintain the body in the posture. Every time one lifts, moves, and drops, one needs to exert effort in order to lift the foot, move the foot, and drop the foot. And also, one needs effort in order to be able to note lifting, moving, and placing. One needs to exert effort to observe the lifting movement. When one observes lifting of the foot, one experiences lightness. And when one observes moving of the foot, one experiences pushing or pulling. And when one observes dropping or placing of the foot, one experiences heaviness. Whatever one is doing, whether lifting, moving, or placing of the foot, one needs to exert effort so that the noting mind will fall onto the object, lifting, moving, placing of the foot, and so on. At the beginning, one sees the manner of lifting, moving and placing, but later on, yogi will see the true nature itself, such as lightness, pulling, pushing, heaviness, and so on. So, in making these movements, such as lifting, moving, placing, one needs to exert effort to make these movements, and also one needs to make effort in order to be able to note them without missing, without failing. So in this way, when doing walking meditation, there are multiple efforts needed. In one step, there are moments of effort, moment by moment. So even in one lifting, there are many moments of effort that are continuous. So there are efforts needed stage by stage until the foot is lifted totally off the ground. And in the same way, in the stepping of the foot as well, there are stages of viriya, moment by moment, to place the foot. When one is doing standing, one also needs to exert effort to keep the body upright and to balance the body. And these viriya are arising continuously. And also, in order to be able to note the object, one needs to exert effort so that one will be able to note the object continuously without failing, without missing. So in brief, Kayika Viriya predominates in the postures of walking and standing. And in the other two postures, sitting and lying, Cetasika Viriya is more predominant. When sitting, before one sits, there is intention to sit, and the actual sitting down takes place. When sitting, the legs are crossed and the body is upright. When one has sat down already, one needs to exert Cetasika Viriya in order to note the object during sitting meditation. And also, when doing lying, one has this intention to lie, and one lies down. After lying down, one does not need to make more effort, but one only needs to exert effort to note the presently arising object. So in this lying and sitting posture, it is quite comfortable. One does not need to put too much effort, but one only needs to exert effort in order to note the object. So in these postures of sitting and lying, Cetasika Viriya is more prominent, and one needs to exert this Cetasika Viriya during sitting and lying, so that one can note the presently arising object without missing, without failing. So during this sitting and lying, one should exert effort to propel the noting mind towards the object so that one can note the object without missing. Whatever posture one may be in, whether lying, sitting, walking or standing, whatever posture one may be in, one needs to exert effort to be able to note the presently arising object. Sitting, walking, standing and lying are the four major postures. There are other minor postures such as bending, stretching, turning, opening and closing of the eye, blinking and so on. Whatever one is doing, whether bending, stretching, turning, opening and closing of the eyes or blinking, one should exert effort in order to note them at the moment of their arising. By exerting effort continuously, effort will gain momentum. The preceding effort and the succeeding effort will be continuous, and one should exert initial effort, step up effort, so that the effort will gain momentum, and it is called arata viriya, diligent effort. Yogis who are now practicing, they have the two kinds of viriya, kayika viriya and cetasika viriya. One needs to exert effort so that the noting mind will reach the object of meditation, such as rising and falling of the abdomen. One should exert effort second by second, minute by minute, and there will be many seconds, many minutes of continuous viriya. When there is many continuous seconds, many continuous minutes of viriya, this effort will be more energized and complete. When one has overcome kosaja, laziness, viriya effort gains momentum, and this effort becomes even more energized after overcoming laziness. So one needs to exert effort so that the noting mind reaches the object of meditation, and thus there will be sustained mindfulness. The noting mind will stick onto the object. The more one exerts effort, the more sati, mindfulness, will be continuous. When there is sustained mindfulness, when mindfulness is strong, the mind will fall calm and collected on the object, and thus khanika samadhi, momentary concentration, has developed. When there is effort, this arata viriya, ardent effort, to note the presently arising object, this effort is called samma vayama, right effort. And sati, mindfulness, it is not ordinary mindfulness, but it is called samma sati, right mindfulness. And samadhi, concentration, is not ordinary, but it is called samma samadhi, right concentration. So samma viriya, samma vayama, samma sati and samma samadhi are three among the eightfold noble paths. And these three, samma vayama, samma sati and samma samadhi, make up samadhi khanda, concentration group. This samadhi khanda, concentration group, is also called samadhi sikha, concentration training, or in another word, it is also called samadhi sasana, concentration teaching of concentration teaching. When these three, viriya, sati and samadhi, samma vayama, samma sati and samma samadhi are present, defilements have no chance to arise. Defilements that can arise by lack of viriya, sati, samadhi has no chance to arise when these three, samma vayama, samma sati, samma samadhi, are present. Having samadhi khanda, having concentration group, this samadhi khanda prevents the defilement from arising. Just as one has to prevent fire, in the same way, samadhi khanda, concentration group, prevents defilements such as raga, dosa, fire of lust, fire of anger from arising. And there will be arada viriya, diligent effort. So when samadhi khanda is present, lust fire, anger fire, and other fires of defilements have no chance to arise. And it is said that aparajaka, aparaja means less defilement, dirt. And akha means eye. It is not ordinary eye, but it is knowledge eye. Aparajaka means in the knowledge eye, there is few or no defilement, dirt at all. When the practice is good, the mind is free from defilement, dirt. There is no defilement, dirt when the practice is good. One has to prevent fire. In the same way, this samadhi khanda is preventing kilesa, dirt, kilesa, defilement from arising. Viriya, sati, samadhi, effort, mindfulness and concentration is preventing so that kilesa, dirt, cannot enter into the mind. Practicing Satipatthana meditation is to develop knowledge, and when the knowledge has arisen, there will be knowledge eye, and in this knowledge eye, there is no defilement, dirt, or there will be few defilement, dirt. When noting the object, there is aiming the noting mind towards the object, and this aiming is jhanic factor of vitakka. When the noting mind is bonded or jhanic factor, the mind is free from nivarana, defilement. And when viriya, sati, samadhi, effort, mindfulness and concentration, the three of the samadhi khanda, the three of the samadhi group is present, kilesa, defilement, have no chance to arise. And this samadhi khanda, concentration group, is not giving any room for kilesa, defilements, to arise. And even if the defilements arise, one will know right away as soon as the defilement arises, and one will remove the defilement by noting it as soon as it arises. In this way, preventing and curing defilement will become stronger and stronger, and it will be aparajaka, which means there is less defilement, dirt, or there is no defilement, dirt in the knowledge eye. With the support of viriya and sati, effort and mindfulness, the noting mind falls calm and collected on the object, and it is samadhi, concentration. This samadhi is called khanika citte kakada, momentary concentration. Momentary concentration falls on the new object for one moment. This momentary concentration can keep the noting mind calm, collected, unified on the object of meditation. In the text, it is explained, Khanika citte kakadati, khanamata chittiko samadhi. It means that Khanika citte kakada means momentary concentration that falls calm and collected on the object for one moment. This concentration lasts only a moment. It is no longer than 1 second. So that's why it is called momentary concentration. The concentration lasts only one moment, only a moment. And it is explained that sohi aramane nirandara ekena karena Apito viya citta nisalan tapeti. This momentary concentration can keep the mind unshaken, unagitated on the object of meditation continuously, just like Anapana samadhi, attainment concentration. So this momentary concentration, even though it lasts only a moment, but it can keep the noting mind unagitated, unshaken, not agitated by defilements such as raga or dosa. Apito viya means this momentary concentration can keep the noting mind calm and collected, unified, unshaken, unagitated on the object, just as Anapana samadhi, attainment concentration, can do so. So it means that Anapana samadhi, attainment concentration, one can gain through Lokiya jhana. Anapana samadhi is attainment samadhi, attainment concentration that can be gained through Lokiya jhana, mundane absorption. This Khanika samadhi, momentary concentration, has the same quality of Anapana samadhi, attainment concentration, in keeping the mind calm, collected, unified on the object of meditation. When this Khanika samadhi, momentary concentration, can keep the mind calm and collected, is Patipakhena Anabhibhuto. When the mind is not overwhelmed by opposite states such as nivarana, hindrances, raga, dosa, the defilements, when the defilements and hindrances cannot overwhelm the mind, then this momentary concentration can keep the mind calm, collected, unified on the object of meditation. So the mind should not be overwhelmed by hindrances or defilements, and thus when the mind is not overwhelmed by these defilements and hindrances, this Khanika samadhi, momentary concentration, can keep the noting mind unified, calm and collected on the object. And also, this Khanika samadhi, momentary concentration, should be continuous, just like a stream of current, so that the mind will not be overwhelmed by defilements and hindrances. It is said that nirantara, it means Khanika samadhi, momentary concentration, should be continuous without any gaps, without any break in between. That means preceding samadhi, preceding concentration, and succeeding concentration should be continuous without any gaps. When there is sustained mindfulness, the mind is calm and collected on the object, and there should be Khanika samadhi, continuous, nirantara, without any gaps in between. Even though the object may be different, but the Khanika samadhi, momentary concentration, is continuous and homogeneous. Aramane means presently arising object. So there will be new and new objects arising continuously, and also Khanika samadhi, momentary concentration, should be continuous without any breaks, even though the object may differ. It means that the preceding concentration and succeeding concentration should be continuous without any gaps, so that the mind will not be agitated by raga dosa, the mind will not be overwhelmed by these hindrances and defilements. When the mind is not overwhelmed by these defilements and hindrances, this Khanika samadhi, momentary concentration, has the same quality with Appana Samadhi, attainment concentration, in keeping the mind calm, collected, unified on the object of meditation. And this will be known to the yogi, especially at the higher knowledges. When the yogi has attained higher knowledges, this momentary concentration becomes very strong, amazingly strong, that even though yogi may perfectly take away the noting mind from the object, but the noting mind automatically falls onto the object immediately. So Jaraji explains with the example of boomerang. In Australia, there is boomerang. When you throw the boomerang, it comes back to the player. In the same way, when the yogi has attained higher knowledges, even if yogi may perfectly take the mind away from the object, but the mind automatically comes back to the object immediately, just like a boomerang comes back to the player. One needs to exert effort in order to note the presently arising object. If one does not exert effort, or if one's effort is lack, then sati, mindfulness, cannot arise. If mindfulness does not arise, samadhi, concentration, does not arise, and there will not be khanika samadhi, momentary concentration. So if one's effort is slack, the noting mind will not stick onto the object, mindfulness will not develop, and thus one loses or fails to develop khanika samadhi, momentary concentration. That's why one should be exerting effort every single second. If one fails to exert effort for 1 second, then one will lose or fail to note the object for 1 moment, and there will not be mindfulness for 1 moment. So one should not miss to note the object even for 1 moment, even for 1 second. One should cherish and value the practice. One should practice with due respect. One should be meticulous in one's practice. One should exert effort in the practice, and one should exert effort continuously every single second, so that mindfulness and concentration will develop continuously without any gap in between. Whether one is bending, stretching, standing, sitting down, standing up, one should be mindful continuously without any gap. Even the intention should be noted without missing, without failing. Before doing the action, there is the intention. One should note this intention and the actual movement. One should not take it easy, thinking that it is not significant or not important to note continuously. So when practicing, yogis should be practicing diligently, intensively, meticulously, continuously. And there should not be any gaps between the noting. If there are gaps between the noting, mindfulness will not be continuous, and thus mindfulness will be weak. Saraji gives an example of a rope. A rope is made up of many small fibers. Each of these fibers are not strong, but when these fibers are entwined together, combined together, it will make up a strong rope. In the same way, mindfulness and concentration should be continuous without any gaps in between, so that mindfulness and concentration will be strong. One moment of mindfulness or one moment of concentration may not be strong, but if the mindfulness and concentration are continuous one after another, they will build up a momentum and they will build up to be strong mindfulness, strong concentration. That's why yogis should not be slack in their practice, thinking that each noting is insignificant, but actually noting moment by moment continuously will build up strong mindfulness and strong concentration. Buddha said that one should not disregard even the minor kind of wholesomeness that will make one's life beautiful and pure. So one should not disregard, one should not hold low esteem of even minor wholesomeness. The example is given if one collects drops of rainwater. If one collects rainwater drop by drop, even one drop by one drop of rainwater collected will make the pot full. So if one collects water drop by drop, finally the pot will become full. In the same way, a person who is wise should not disregard khanika samadhi, momentary concentration. If one develops khanika samadhi, momentary concentration, moment by moment, one after another, continuously, this khanika samadhi will become stronger and stronger, and it will become more and more energized, so that one's body, speech and mind will become pure, clean and gentle. So one should have respect in their practice, noting even the intention and the actual movement. When doing bodily actions, yogis should do them slowly and mindfully, and the noting mind should keep pace with the object. In order to do so, one should do things slowly and mindfully, so that the noting mind can keep pace with the movement. And yogis should note with aiming the noting mind towards the object and put effort, so that yogis can note the object continuously every single second without any gaps in between. When the noting mind falls on the object of meditation continuously, the mind will not be agitated by nivarana hindrances. The sediments of kilesa defilement will be calmed and settled when there is sati and samadhi, mindfulness and concentration. When the sediments of kilesa defilement settle down, the mind will be clear and serene, and it is called serene faith. So when the sediments settle in water, the water becomes clear, and one can even see one's own image in this clear water. But when the water is moving, the sediment will not settle, and thus image will not appear in this moving water. In the same way, when there is viriya, sati, samadhi, effort, mindfulness and concentration, defilement sediment will settle down, the mind will be pure and clean, and one will discern distinctly between the object and the noting mind, one discerns mind and matter, cause and effect, and thus the knowledge I will be free from the defilement dirt. When the mind is calm and collected, yogi discern distinctly on the true nature, and knowledge will be developed. At that stage, when the object arises, the noting mind will automatically fall onto the object without aiming it especially, and there will be samma sangha.